In early 2011, the TF2 team decided to introduce a rather odd change that, even more bizarrely, only lasted one single day. In the Hatless update on April 14, 2011, every melee weapon with the no random critical hits downside had it swapped out for a minus 25% damage penalty. Well, all of them except for the Extinguisher, which didn't technically have a no random critical hit stat, but instead had a no critical hits versus non-burning player stat, which is basically just no random critical hits but with extra steps. But either way, this did allow it to be spared the new downside. And what this meant though was that Delman's swords, the Ulpool Caber, the Gunslinger, and the Southern Hospitality could now randomly crit, but they had their base damage reduced from 65 to just 49. And actually probably lower for the Caber, since it already had a lower melee base damage, but I actually don't know how it was affected by this particular change. But I was playing TF2 back then, and I did get to experience the 25% damage penalty Eyelander, and as you could probably guess, dealing 40 to 50 something damage with a sword doesn't really feel very fun. But it did mean you could get lucky and sometimes have it deal 146 damage with that crit. That was a new trade-off. It didn't feel worth it, but I guess it doesn't really matter because this change was reverted literally the next day on April 15th. And this was an undocumented change and wasn't even in the patch notes. So this attempt at balancing came and went within 24 hours without a single explanation. I guess we'll never know what they were thinking, but it did stick around for one weapon, actually. The Power Jack, of all things, originally had a 25% damage bonus and the inability to randomly crit. So in the Hatless update, it actually lost both these stats and instead gained a melee damage vulnerability when active. So I guess because they balanced each other out, the Power Jack was the only one to keep it, which in itself was also a pretty odd change.